So we'll just pop right through it and talk through your list. And you started it with a player that I think has an interesting situation, and somebody, honestly, I didn't think about more than 2 times the entire college basketball season.
Yeah.
And that's Patrick Baldwin Jr. You rewind a few years, and really maybe even just 1 year, and there was a debate in industry circles about who could be the number 1 pick in the 2022 NBA draft, and it'd be like Paulo Banchero, who was mistaken for Patrick Mahomes this weekend.
How about that? That's pretty tough.
What a ridiculous situation that was. So it was like either Paulo Banchero could be the number 1 pick, or maybe Patrick Mahomes, Chet Holmgren, and then Patrick Baldwin Jr. was kind of in that conversation. As most people know, he is a 5-star prospect who went to Milwaukee to play for his father. He had offers from, among others, Duke. So this is a guy who could have gone anywhere he wanted to go, decided to play for his dad, which I think made sense at the time. Your dad's on the so-called hot seat. You can save his job, get him a contract extension, dominate your league, protect your draft status, and then enter the 2022 NBA draft. That was conceptually how it was supposed to go. Didn't work out that way at all. Barely played because he dealt with an injury. When he did play, wasn't great. Milwaukee stunk. Dad still got fired, and now he's trying to figure out what to do. Do you have him as a projected first-round pick right now? Because I do. And from my perspective, I don't want to say that's the cutoff. Like, you could do, any of these players can do whatever they want to do. It will have no impact on my life whatsoever. But if he's a projected first-round pick still, I think I'd lean toward probably just getting on with my professional life. But if he were somebody who's going to slip into the second round, I could make the argument that doing a second year of college at a big boy program and proving that you got caught in a not ideal situation, but that you're still a high-level prospect who was talked about in the same sentences as Holmgren and Banchero just about a year ago. Like, this is one that I could actually see going either way.
Yeah, you go back to the end of 2020, in fact, and Patrick Baldwin Jr. was the number 1 recruit in his class, in the same class with Chet Holmgren, with Paulo Banchero. Patrick Baldwin was that dude. We were talking about this guy as a potential number 1 pick. And a lot has happened with Baldwin Jr., mostly bad. He had an ankle injury in his senior season in high school, played only a few games, and that was it. Slid down to, I think he finished as the number 8 recruit in his high school recruiting class. So really still a blue chip recruit. People thought he was still on the lottery radar. I had him as a lottery pick coming into the year. Only played in 11 games with Milwaukee. And even at Milwaukee, it wasn't just that he only played in 11 games. It's that in those 11 games, he wasn't a superstar, right? I mean, he shot 26.6% from 3, averaged 12.1 points per game, had another ankle injury, missed most of the year. And, I think typically with a recruit like this, most of the time you just, even if it's a shortened season, you just go to the NBA, you know you're going to be a first round pick. I'm not so sure now, given what has happened the last 2 years and how his seasons have ended prematurely, that he is a first round pick. I have him number 37 on the big board. So right now that is outside my first round projection. I think he is an interesting case in that I would like to see him come back to school to prove, hey, I can be healthy for a full season, and to prove that he is still legit, like a 5-star blue chip NBA first rounder. Because what we saw at Milwaukee, obviously he's a prototype shooter. He's 6'9", great size, got great range. And I think everything about his game screams NBA, but we just haven't quite seen him perform at the level that we've seen previous to the injuries. And I think that's why I have him at number 1. Is I think his situation is so fascinating, because right now if he's going to the portal or he's going to stay in the NBA draft. He's not coming back to Milwaukee. There's been some rumors about maybe North Carolina. I think he would be a great fit, maybe replacing Brady Manick. But the fact that I don't think he's a guarantee to be in the first round is is to me, I think, one of the more fascinating cases because of his backstory and because of his injury history.
If I were a franchise drafting at the bottom of the first round that already had an established core, and it's just like, we can take a possible, role player type guy, which those guys are valuable. You see them in the NBA playoffs right now, or we can just take a big swing on somebody. Like I might be willing to just take a big swing on Patrick Baldwin. Like I think I had him going to the Grizzlies in my mock draft at 29, maybe.
Yeah.
Like you've already got this incredible young core. Like, what if you really hit on a 5-star prospect again that you got at the bottom of the first round? Like, what if he really turned into what he was supposed to be? Now you're set up really, really well. So I would take a swing on him, but I'm not sure an NBA franchise actually will. Like, it seems very much up in the air. And if he's sincerely considering coming back to college, and I'll take him at his word, at a place like North Carolina, you don't need to do this. But if I were another school, like, as far as I know, the dad's still unemployed. I mean, I would look at, hey, do you need a job? Bring your son. Because the dad's a legit, this isn't just the father of a prospect who you'd be hiring. The dad's a legitimate college basketball coach. And so you could maybe do one of those deals and get a guy who, again, a year ago was thought of as a projected lottery pick. Whether he would establish himself as that again with a second year in college, again, who knows? But there was a time not too long ago when he was considered one of the best young prospects in the world. And I've got to think some of that is still there somewhere.